Hey guys, I know it's not real nice to make fun of people's intelligence. I feel like the ones that, if you're blessed with a smart mind and you got your shit together and you're not a complete moron. I just feel like it's a blessing. Obviously, you should be grateful for that, and you really shouldn't make fun of people for being dumber than you, or you shouldn't call them out, or you shouldn't get mad about it. But I do all the time. I get so, one of the things that upsets me the most is when out of somebody's stupidity or just ignorance, or because they are different, I don't want to lump everything under the same category. Obviously, stupidity is when you do know something but you choose to do the wrong thing anyway, I guess. Or the less beneficial thing. That would be kind of stupid, right? But ignorant just means that if you're unaware, you don't know. If you're an infant, if you're a baby, you don't know quantum physics. You're ignorant. It doesn't mean you're stupid or you're mentally challenged or you're an idiot or anything like that. I mean, technically you could say that the baby is dumb, I guess, but it's deeper than that. It's more about ignorant is like, if you choose, or not if you choose, but if you just don't know something yet, it's not really your fault. You can't really make fun of somebody for being ignorant if they don't know something that they never had a chance to know, but you can make fun of some. I feel like you could make fun of somebody for being stupid, because if you're stupid, you're choosing to do something that you probably shouldn't. But that being said, it's not the best thing to do to be making fun of people being stupid, right? But I'm telling you, there's nothing that infuriates me more than somebody who talks down to you like you're an idiot when they're the one that's being dumb. And especially when they never want to acknowledge it, especially, if they know that you're right, if you've proven to be right, it's even more infuriating when they don't want to acknowledge it. They just want to be like, oh, yeah. I hate it when somebody argues and argues and argues and argues, and then they finally realize they're wrong, and then they don't ever say, yeah, you're right. They either get embarrassed for arguing about being wrong, and then they just ignore it and they just let it go. And listen, I don't need a thank you or I don't need a you're right. I don't need a pat on my back, but I do hate when people are arrogant enough to do these kinds of things and then never, if you're humble about it, it's not a big deal. If you're humble about, the fact that you're wrong, nobody likes being right or being wrong. Everyone wants to be right. Nobody likes being wrong. Now, I like learning. A part of being wrong I like, because if I'm wrong and then I learn something and then I gain knowledge from it, then I like that. But nobody likes to be wrong, especially when you're arrogant about it, or you're blasting somebody in front of other people and then you find out you're wrong. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a rough one. But that being said, man, there are a lot of people out there that just do not know shit. And they don't care that they don't know anything. They could be wrong 9 out of 10 times, and they still think that everything that they say is right and that you should listen to everything. And at that point, it makes it very difficult for me to not get mad about something. Especially if something screws you over. I'll be at work and I get mad because somebody is just either lazy or stupid, which lazy, if you're not motivated, it's easy to be lazy when you're not motivated. It's very easy to be lazy when you're not motivated. So it's hard for me to get mad at some. Now, if somebody's just choosing to be lazy just because they just don't feel like doing stuff, but they get everything handed to them, and, then it's like, well, look, dude, you're getting a bunch of stuff handed to you that arguably you don't even deserve. And you're still going to go out of your way to be lazy. And then if it causes me more work, I don't mind if you're a lazy person. I'm lazy too. In certain areas, certain areas I like to bust my ass and I like to do something right and do it the best way I possibly can. And then there's other ways that I just, if it's something you don't care about, it's easy to be lazy. If you're not motivated, it's very easy to be lazy. But when somebody goes out of their way to just, or just out of sheer laziness, they just don't care to do something that they're supposed to do. And then you get stuck doing double the amount of work because somebody else just didn't feel like it. That shit drives me nuts as well. But nothing, it pales in comparison to when people are just super, super cocky and conceited about their intelligence, and then they do dumb shit all the time to cause you, some kind of, headache about it. It's annoying, and we're all lacking in knowledge in some area, right? None of us have all the answers. Nobody on this earth knows everything. There's a lot of us that act like we do, and don't get me wrong, there's times where I think that I know more than I do. There's times where maybe I think I know the whole story, and maybe I missed because this happened. I hate when this happens. Like, if you think you hear somebody that you rely on. This is one of my favorites. When you hear something from a person that you normally can easily rely on, that they never BS you, but they never got all the story, so then they tell you something, and then you go and repeat it and gossip like an a-hole, like I've done, and then it turns out you're wrong and you didn't have all the information. Man, it's embarrassing, dude. I get embarrassed. There's not too many things that really embarrass me to the point where I get nervous, or it never really bothers me. It's just nobody likes when you feel like you're helping somebody learn something and then it turns out you're wrong to begin with too, and it's rough, man. But that being said, man, I'm torn between this, because a part of me feels like you should not make fun of people for being stupid. You know what I'm saying? A part of me feels like that wholeheartedly, that you should not make fun of people for being dumb, because there's a part of me that feels like if you're lucky enough or blessed enough, or pick an adjective for that, and you feel like you've been gifted with a lot of knowledge, it's almost unfair to make fun of people that don't have that knowledge. You know what I mean? And especially, think about it like this. If you grow up in America and you have great schooling, a great family, great friends, and you have a good education and you learn a lot, it's a lot easier for you to be smarter than somebody, say, that grows up in a village in some poor country with no schooling, and they can barely scrape by, and they just at 8 years old, they're working in a field to try to scrape by just to get food and shelter and water and all this stuff. If you know more than that person, you should never make fun of that person for not knowing as much as you. That to me is it feels super wrong. It really does, because it feels like you can say white privilege just because I'm white, but it's more of an not even American, I guess. It's just if you're blessed enough to be born into an area where you do have some money and you do get good schooling and you do have good family and you do get good knowledge, it may be frustrating to deal with somebody who doesn't have a lot of intelligence, but at the same time, you don't know what that person was raised under. You don't know what kind of life they led. And so when I think about those kinds of things, it's easy for me to think, man, I shouldn't make fun of somebody like that. I shouldn't make fun of them and say they're stupid. I shouldn't get mad when they do something that I consider to be dumb, because just because I was blessed enough to have the information gifted to me doesn't mean they were. And so on that aspect of it, I feel really bad after I make fun of someone for being dumb. Or if you know somebody that normally, I don't know, they don't have the self-confidence, so maybe they do things a different way and it seems dumb to you because you do have the confidence. There's just different ways people were raised, and there's different things that we all think of and do. And it's very unfair to rip on somebody for their intelligence if they didn't have, the luxury of the flooding of information that you did. If I even worded that right. But I think you guys know what I mean. Excuse me. And so I do feel bad for people in that scenario. But what I don't feel bad for is people say, maybe you work for somebody and this person is in a position of power, and they constantly make dumb decisions that affect others and screw over other people, and you know that it's a stupid way to go about it, It's a dumb way to run business. But whether they do or not, whether they understand that principle or not, it's hard for me to feel sorry for them because you're screwing over so many other people's lives. I work for some people that, and I'm not going to name names because if they see this, it'll be a problem for me. But if, I work for some people that they make stupid decisions. I'm not saying that they are stupid as people. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't spend enough time with them. But what I do know is that I see some of the decision making and some of it's absolutely idiotic. And you can't understand for the life of you why the F something like that would ever happen. Or why they would come to that decision. Like you might have some experience in what we're talking about. And, excuse me, I got to order some Tim Hortons real quick. Give me a second.